lot to think about, Ian.
I sure do.
Yeah, you're staring at those maps, I can smell the sawdust burning.
Yeah. Sulfur and brimstone.
Yeah. But I appreciate your patience, Ian. Thanks for looking at the stuff and giving us your concept and ideas on it. And I'm not saying we're perfect, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. It's better than anything else I've seen so far.
Well, I'm having a hard time fitting things in.
No problem.
Perspective-wise, but I'm looking forward to some more numbers.
Okay.
Next year, some more measurements between these things that we might be able to definitively nail down.
Right. That means you
from
actually
the
have
film.
to join us there, and I think that'd be a good perspective.
It sounds like a lot of work.
It was. Wasn't for Ian over here. I mean, not Ian. Rowdy.
It was work. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good
Suspiciously like
experience.
work.
Yeah. I guess
I
Rowdy
felt
was,
like I was on the job for 2 days. Definitely.
Yeah, you definitely were on. It's really helpful having Roddy do all the
Orienteering.
Yeah, he had the compass. He took the bearings. He double checked it. He got the smart end of the tape. I ran the dummy end down the thing, and he recited the numbers. We recorded it. We double checked it. So, as far as in terms of perspective of trying to keep it relatively accurate, I think we did a pretty decent
good.
job.
We were off 1.5 foot in a few spots.
Yeah, but
we went back and corrected. You know, when we do our
Double
cross
check.
reference as far as measuring our other side to the other side.
On a site like this.
Yeah, within 1.5 foot. You know, the main thing was
That's
getting
more than
the
enough.
material within those plots and getting some ratio and some size perspective on the area was what we did.
I think that was pretty important too, and I feel good with what we did. But we can do more. We're not totally finished. We can put the start. We can put those big old root balls that allegedly wash down river. There's a lot of things we can add to that. That's going to make paint a better picture. And I have the originals. These are copies. I did color copies, and we can add on where we started, and add on the curvature of the river and the valley side as it just cuts down and works this way and cuts back like this. Because you take this, you try to apply this to this, you know, that's where the challenge comes in. Mm-hmm. This is, he didn't survey it, he just drew a picture. Yeah. And it's based on how he felt it looked. And he probably left out things he didn't think were important that we think are important, like they don't have GPS then, but a place you could take a bearing off of it.
It should be at least a north-south perspective.
Yeah,
so,
that would be helpful.
Yeah.
And even scale the feet.
Because when I was down there, I was turned.
Measurement.
I was really surprised when I got north-south. I was like, whoa. I was off probably 60 degrees feeling the whole time.
Oh, it's very easy down there, especially when you get back into that brush and you lose your horizon.
Yes.
And that creek is moving deceptively, too. Mm-hmm. It looks like it's making a couple 90-degree right turns over the course of half a mile or so, and it's not really doing that. Yeah. It's a more gradual turn.
I think that this was really close to a 90 there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That one is at the start of that bowling alley, as we call it. Mm-hmm. That is just about as close to 90 degrees as you can get. And then there's another one downstream, too, where it changes almost 90 degrees.
Yeah, and it's a similar river bar just below it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's another bar there, so it would be right down here.
And over in Finding Bigfoot, did they show the camera view of them all standing on the little river bar or on the creek bar from the helicopter?
I don't remember seeing that shot.
Yeah. We ended up...
It would be terrible if they took a chopper in and didn't use the footage.
Oh, yeah, they better have. Actually, we wanted to shoot them at this site, but it was too dark. The sun had moved over. Backside alders have a white reflective. So
right, lighter surface.
Camera couldn't get in without getting the exposure, so we walked them down further down to get them like leading or sitting there like they're talking at the site. Which actually, then I was like, man, this looks good down here. That was good at first.
I think I know the spot you're talking about, and that would
Yeah,
And that get my attention too.
It goes a straightaway, and then it kind of curves, and then right about here would be that next part.
And you can get a pretty good aerial shot from the old road. I think I know exactly where you guys
like
were.
I said, it took me 3 times before I started to get a feel for it. Because when I was first there, I was like, there's no way. That goes right up the bank, and then you start putting all the factors in there, how much the creek has gone down, how much has grown up. I think, have we pinned any of these trees? Are we assuming, you and I were going through this trying to figure out whether these were firs
Oh yeah, yeah.
or alders, you know, and picking out if we could find those trees have grown up over time.
That's what we did. That's what we did the bore increments. And like on the map here, we even have the age, estimated age, because we actually counted the rings on it. And we did circumference, and we figured out based on circumference and estimated age of the ones we did, how old they were, and we were able to pretty much clear the slate except for some maples right here. Big maple here. There's another questionable maple over here. And the oldest fir on the flats was right here, and that we figured that was 31 plus, but it was rotted on the inside, so we couldn't count the rings there. Mm-hmm. And of course the alder we did, the biggest alder out here we did, which is right here. So we guessed.
Yes.
Right. And I think we
got to
guessed,
add a few years.
I think we guessed good.
Yeah.
I think we guessed good. I'm comfortable with our. There's no way we're going to go here and bore every single tree out here. And even the point where the maples were so hard to bore, the thing was getting stuck in them, and we didn't want to leave a $600 piece of equipment stuck in a tree. But that's why we didn't bore the maples here, because it was obvious to us that these were significant, these are significant, and these didn't matter. But this is significant alder. This is the one that has like the 3 branches and look weird with the growth. Remember that one? That's right there. So the alien maple. We said that's pretty unique. We'd probably see it in the film if it was in it. That's that one there. The first thing I tried to do, I mentioned before, it was really important to me to try to look at the whole film site, not just a big tree, because that's how my mind works. So what I did here is to try to orient this.
I got it backwards. There we go.
You're close.
Yeah.
So just like this. We talked already about F, the V, and trying to line the V up with this parallel thing here. Then we moved over to these tall stumps, and that smaller stump there, taller stumps, and a smaller stump over here. That'd be that one there. We talked about, falling through the root hole here. I kind of finished off here at the end where this stump had a log on top of it, but it's not in the same exact position as this because this long piece here seemed to be farther moving down this way. You see this line across here? This is the current edge of the whole area right now. But if you look at this fine line that runs across here, that's the high watermark deposits, the debris on the edge. So that's pretty close to our line that we got around here, which is interesting. What I find pretty fascinating was Q here is a stump. It's got a root ball and a cut-off end piece, a root ball and a cut-off end piece. It just happens to be on the edge of this line here, which just happens to be down from what we're calling P, more organic debris stump material here, just down from R, which are logs laying atop the organic pile, and S was just organic pile debris piled here. And if I jump over here, this log has branches sticking out of it. So does this guy right here. What's interesting is if you try to line up the V the best you can, paralleling the V, line up these 2 lines that form between these 2 stumps, and this other one off to the side. This angle here. This log that has the branches sticking out of it almost runs the same direction as this one. These are a few things, and here's the other one. For me, like for Rowdy talked about the maple tree. Seeing the bulge in the maple tree was significant for him. Well, what was significant for me outside of these things is when we're on the site looking at the background, do you see this leaning tree right here, Ian? There's a leaning tree right there. Can you see that? Here, take it. I don't know if it's on this one too. See that leaning tree right there? That's the same leaning tree that's in back here. From this camera angle, shooting this way, it puts it behind the middle tree. The leaning tree puts it behind the middle tree. But the big tree, the alleged big tree, would be this one here, A, item A on this one, which is stump right next to the left of that tree. There's a stump right there, which is X. But this is leading, and which is significant because it's behind the big tree on an angle from camera angle, which puts it behind the middle tree. I think Ian is at overload point.
We got too many pictures on the table.
Yeah.
This is Ian's pastime. Just throw him a few photographs. Here you go, Ian. He's there for hours. You can have another one. Hours later. All right. Well, I guess it's probably should call it for a night.
I'm only, not even 6 months into this stuff. So.
Yeah, but still, so you've been very helpful.
Interesting stuff. And the night I sat at the BFRO expedition with Steve and Robert, and we went through this thing. And when I saw her on her second turn, and she realizes that he's not going away from her, and her hackles go whoosh, that's what got me. That's when I really started to believe there's no way that's hoax.
Thank you very much. That's really. This is pretty neat. This is the most clear picture I've seen. I wish I had this when I was doing the original thing. Here's the leaning tree. Here. This is that V thing I've been curious about, and it's tall stumpish things, and more stumps out this way. Grow of trees that kind of match sort of that picture thing, and the root ball over here, that kind of weird set to it, and a few other odds and ends, and yeah, it's a good picture there.
And thanks to Daniel Perez for sending this.
And that's right.
Though he ought to send us the digital file too.
Yeah,
Right.
Of course he sent us this, but it says, look real closely. It says, not made for scientific use only. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate this. Yeah, thanks a little team. We have Ian, come all the way from Reading. Steven, he had to get his car and drive, 3 miles to get here?
Walk a couple miles and
Rowdy, it's my neck of the woods too, came down here to help us out.
Not too far away.
My wife, Regina, has been tolerating the whole thing. She came up to make sure I made it home safely for the program. And then there's me,
the map man.
the map man, who started this whole problem. No, actually, it's Steven's fault.
I got to send you some pictures from our expedition.
Which one?
Oh, yeah.
You
I
have
got
more.
some I have some. I never sent you any of them, did I?
Well,
Did I?
Perez wants some for his new.
Yeah, I got some of them crossing the river.